series of village festivals. So we want to hear your story, why you started, and how this changed the life in the village. So give a big round of applause to Ananya. You are the first person to kickstart. And hope the PowerPoint presentation is ready. Siap? PPT siap ya? Yes. Okay, sorry, little technical problem. Meantime, would somebody like to sing to entertain us? Ananya Bhattacharya. Mm. No, it was Ananya. Ari. Yeah, take this, yeah, take this and then just return to me, yeah. Sabine was the, I don't know, do we have, by the way, this? No, because that was the old one, yeah, that was, we were given different one. Okay. So can you do this as per this?
Shall I give the presentation once more?
Yeah. You have the Slido number? App called Slido. I don't have the code yet, but that will be shown soon, and I will let you know. Otherwise, for those people who are still analog, like me, they also provided this. So as you sing with questions, please start writing and ultimately paste there, okay? And then since we still have a bit, they're still figuring out the technical issues, may I suggest one thing? Why don't we stand up? Stand up and do a bit of stretching. Because we're going to sit here for 2 hours and your butt will hurt. applause is for you. Please come back on the stage.
Technology is always a challenge sometimes. So a very good morning to all of you. Namaste. I'm Ananya Bhattacharya from India, and I represent a social enterprise called banglanatak.com, or Contact Base. Our legal entity name is that, but we are more known as banglanatak.com. And I thank UNESCO and the Ministry of Education and Culture, Republic of Indonesia, for giving me the opportunity to share our stories from India in this very important international forum for advancement of culture. Yesterday, the opening ceremony was a delightful one because, it kind of conveyed the basic principle for which all of us are vigorously advocating for cultural mainstreaming, and that is advancement for each, or well-being for each, for advancing the well-being of all. And festivals are indeed the most powerful tool for that, because it is inherently very inclusive, and it addresses, I guess, the most important emotion in mankind, that's happiness. A festival is always a happy occasion. So my theme for presentation today is how we are using festivals for empowerment and transformation. Next, please. So broadly, I'll talk of three things. I'll talk of our Art for Life initiative, which safeguards intangible cultural heritage for socio-economic empowerment of communities. I'll talk about how we are using village festivals for transforming marginalized, unknown areas into energized cultural hubs, and how we are using festival to advance networking and for empowerment. Next, please. Now, Art for Life is an initiative we started in 2005. And the initiative has three prongs of action. As I shared, we focus on intangible heritage. So intangible heritage are the oral traditions, the performing traditions, the crafts, the rituals, the festivities, which are being passed down from generation to generation. And the challenge which is faced all across the world is that much of these have lost the context or the relevance in today's modern lifestyle. So often the tradition bearers, they do not get the opportunities to perform, to practice, and our heritage is lost. Though it represents worldwide the essence of our knowledge, our community's knowledge, our skills, it is getting lost, and that's a challenge. So, in Art for Life, we focus on safeguarding the ICH elements, the art forms. We focus on empowering the artist, because our motto is, if the artists don't survive, the art cannot. What had happened for many decades, there was a lot of focus on documentation, on research, but people did not bring the community into the forefront. Thankfully, that paradigm change has happened now, and artists or tradition bearers and communities and their participation are becoming a more and more priority, which is very important. The third problem of our action is the village where the artists live in, which was perhaps never considered, and much of our success of festivals has come from this. Next, please. So this is where we have worked in India. Our focus state has been West Bengal, from where I'm coming. I'm coming from Calcutta. And the model has been also proven in Bihar. We got an Innovation Forum Award for that, and I'm happy to share. This year we got from Jeonju City in South Korea an award recognizing Art for Life as a good practice for safeguarding of ICH. And we also work in Goa. So what we have done is we have covered more than 28,000 folk artists and their families, and they belong to performing traditions, craft traditions, oral traditions, folk painting, weaving, and the process has been a total empowerment of the communities. Next, please. We also have a national partnership with UNESCO for replication. Next, please. Now, as a result of the interventions, more than 30 art forms which were dying, which had like less than 20 people doing it anymore, are now thriving. We have, for example, a folk painting tradition called Patachitra, where the painters paint stories in scrolls and sing them. And with film, with television, who will listen to a scroll painter or a storyteller? But what has happened now, the art form has found its context as a modern social communic. They traditionally painted on mythology, but now they paint on tsunami, they paint on the rights of women, and they're commissioned. And from that 10 painters in 2005, today there's a whole village of 200 painters who are traveling across the world, telling their stories. And the best part of this work is most of the tradition bearers, 60% are women. So women who had never gone out of the village, faced a lot of restrictions, are now mobile, are now traveling. And as they're traveling, as people are coming in, the young people, they suddenly find that this is cool. So let's practice our ICH. So the average age of the practitioner has decreased. Previously, it was only the old people who were masters. So, next please. So, as an organization, BanglaNatak.com is not a cultural organization. We work for community development. And our area of work is culture and development. And what we have found, that a lot of the sustainable development goals the world has set for 2030 have been met in this process. These people, their average income has increased many times, from 500 to 25,000 rupees. From average of 2,000 to average of 10,000 for this whole 30,000 families. So an investment of, say, around $650, you can say, per person, has resulted in 4 times value creation per year. That has been the scale. And the artists, with the money they have invested in their land, in their quality of life, in sanitation. Villages where there were like 20% houses with toilets now have toilets because people are coming in, the villages are clean. And the women, as I've already shared, they're traveling and they have realized the value of education. A big challenge we had were most of these people were not even educated in school. So, but they were bearers of lot of knowledge. We have a song called Baul, which is the Sufi music of Bengal. And these people, they can sing like 500 songs, 600 songs, talking of humanity, talking of brotherhood. But that knowledge, that skill was not getting valued. So what Art for Life achieved is the increased value for heritage. Now, why festivals? So that is in a nutshell about Art for Life. Festivals have worked at each level, at art, artist, next please. It's not working? Next please. At art, artist, and community. For the art forms were dying, people did not know about it. Festivals created awareness. For the artist, it was a process of empowerment as they participated, as they traveled beyond the village to the city, to other countries. They gained new confidence, new insights, they learned about other culture, and that supported innovation. And it worked at the village level because we branded the villages as cultural hubs, cultural destinations, using the festivals. So we were marketing what we say, the unmarketed. ICH was not in vogue, not in fashion, no one was talking about it, and festivals emerged as a powerful tool. Thank you. Next, please. So what are these village festivals? In India, as in many of the Asian countries, we have the potter's village, we have the storyteller's village, we have the weaver's village. Often one whole area of a village is the home of potters or weavers. So what we did is we created festivals. We actually created festivals to celebrate the heritage of that village. So we now have something called a village in the festival called Dokra. It's a metal work. So we have a Dokra Mela. Mela or Utsav means festival in Indian languages. In the mask makers village, in the wooden dolls village, in the village of the Sufi singers, in the village of Sundarban, which is forest. We have the nature culture journey there. So a lot of the ICH is about nature. So we celebrate those oral traditions. So we have a full calendar of 20 village festivals. The first one started in 2010, the latest maybe 2-3 years back, but all of them have survived and sustained through community initiative. Next, please. So first thing the festivals did was to create awareness. I'll tell you the story of the wooden doll makers. They make the wooden owls, and those of you who have been in India perhaps have seen it. It's a very iconic. But in the neighborhood, no one knew that these wooden doll makers, exactly what they do. So when the first festival happened, the neighbors came in and they bought all the stools and all the tools and chairs which had that owl. They never knew that they make this kind of furniture, and everything was sold out. So first thing it creates recognition, it creates identity for the village in the neighborhood, and of course as people travel, the message spreads. And slowly, all these villages has become a round-the-year destination. The most important thing of a festival is it should not be just a festival. It should not be just an event. It should not be something one-off. There has to be a lot of planning that goes behind a festival. Next, please. Next, please. So this is a graph which shows that in 2010, when we started, no one went to these villages because these were known as poor people's village, or even the village of the metal workers, for example. They worked in a furnace. The environment was not hygienic, and no one went there. And it was so unhygienic. They used to drink a lot, and people used to say it's a drunkard's village. So these villages also had stigma attached to it. But today, in each of these festivals, there are more than 10,000 to 15,000 people coming in. And every weekend and throughout the day, schools, colleges, and people interested, they come in. So it's around the year, these villages has emerged as a destination. And as a result, the people, they take immense pride in their heritage, and they come together to make things better. And that is essentially how sustainability has been built in. Next, please. Now, another important strategy, what we did is to create celebratory spaces. That is also a very important component. So in these villages, we created what are called resource centers or folk art centers, which talk of the art form, which gives you a place to practice, to learn. Now, the festival format is not only about performance only or about demonstration only. In each of the festivals, there are scopes for workshop, for people going in, having a hands-on experience, learning a little about the art form. So it's very much of what we call experiential. And all these common facility centers, these have like 2 rooms for people to stay. Now, one important thing we followed is we didn't do anything specially for the tourists. Tourism came much later, though now they have become cultural tourism destination. Because what we believe is what is good for the community is good for the tourist, and that is very important for sustainability too. Next, please. The second strategy was the festival was a conduit to get more stakeholders come in. So this is where we roped in the local governance, the power holders in the area to come in, to inaugurate, to observe, and what that resulted in is dovetailing with various government programs, other initiatives, which supported in developing the infrastructure. Our project did not have any plan for infrastructure, but it was a local government which built the resource center, which created better roads, and things just improved. Next. The other strategy we did was a festival, even in the remote village, just did not show its ICH, but it created opportunity for cultural exchange. I think cultural exchange and collaboration, facilitation of that, is a very important strategy for success of festivals. So you see, these are some of the music residencies or the art residencies we organized, usually before the festival, and in the festival, all these teams from all across the world, they came and they performed and they co-created artwork. And so what resulted, next please, what resulted was these people in the rural interiors, they were connected to the outside world, and the outside world was connected local. So this has created a wonderful process of exchange. And one outcome is that these other teams, international teams and artists, as they travel, they invite them back to our festivals, their programs, and it just widens the market for them. So this year we had the Shola, it's a tradition with a water plant, traveling to Norway for showcasing their work. We had a music team traveling to France for their music festival, all as a result of these village festivals. Next, please. The third thing, as I was saying, we have 3 prongs of action: art, artist, and village. Now, we have been talking of the tradition bearers, the ICH practitioners. But festivals are a powerful tool to take the benefit to the larger community. And as the festival grows, as the village grows, it needs a lot of services, hospitality, transport, and we have businesses. So the Storytellers Village, where no one went, now has 2 beautiful resorts like this, which have been private investments because they are seeing that there is opportunity of business. So now people can stay in lodges and enjoy the festival, which was unthinkable 10 years back. So this has been a very important part of our strategy. Now, another thing I'd like to mention here, that tourism is like a two-way sword. So, it's very also important to make the community aware of the pitfalls of tourism, and this has been also a part of our capacity building. Next, please. Now, we have been talking of villages so far. What about other festivals, urban festivals? Our flagship festival is called Sur Jahan. Sur Jahan means music of the world. So this is the World Peace Music Festival we are celebrating since the past 9 years. The 10th edition will be in 2020. And more than 30 countries have participated. And in this festival, it is not only about performance. In the morning, we have daytime workshops. And in these workshops, there are exchanges between young musicians, young artists, traditional and rural artists, and all these international teams which are visiting their craft exhibitions. And this festival has now emerged as a networking platform where festival directors from all across the world, we have at least 5-6 festival directors visiting every year this festival, and they invite other teams to their festivals, the craftsmen to their festivals. Next, please. Now, again, the strategy part. It's not a one-off World Peace Music Festival, but we focus. For example, in some years, we focus on women musicians. And women musicians from across the globe, they come in. And we had teams from Morocco, women from Iran, women, a team from Denmark, which represented women from 5 religions. And that, in a way, it creates a whole message of diversity, which today in the morning our Honorable Minister was sharing, that we are all united in our diversity. We invite small islands. For example, this is Maria Lucio from Cape Verde. Now, no one in Calcutta had heard of Cape Verde. No one in Calcutta had heard of Burkina Faso. But when these teams come, they show their traditional music, they talk of peace, they talk of music. I mean, it creates a wonderful vibe, and people learn and evolve through these festivals. So that is another important part, as I was saying, that there a lot of planning needs to go into these festivals as we curate them. Please, next, please. So this has been the impact of festival where our artists have been traveling. These are some of the events which have already taken. And another important thing which has resulted that it's not necessarily they're attending another festival. They have been invited for art residencies. They have been invited for, programs where they have, like this is Taj Kira, Kantha Weaver. She did a 3-week course on, traditional embroidery in Brittany. So it's not only festivals, creating festivals, or participation in festivals, but other avenues for the artist, helping the artist to grow. Next, please. These are some more examples where the artists have gone for art talks and residencies. Overall, 18 countries they have visited, 200 artists next in the last 2-3 years. Next, please. Another important is who is going to the festival. It's very important to be inclusive, to ensure that tradition bearers find a place. You see these two baul singers, they're the Sufi musicians. They have been invited to the Urkult festival in Sweden for 3 successive years, and when they have come up, they have taken initiative to have similar festival. This is a girl who danced Chow, which is in the UNESCO list. It's a men dance, but she is dancing it. Seeing her, there are 2 more teams which are now inspired. Next, please. So this is how we have traveled across the world through festivals, our artists, who had never imagined they will travel outside the village. Next, please. Now, summarizing quickly, since the time is almost up. Now, what are the challenges? I think 2 main challenges I'd like to discuss. One is the challenge in funding, another is the flows and mobility. Now, for funding, the way we have approached the problem is that we have not necessarily talk of culture, or we have never even got much fund from cultural ministry. But we got fund, for example, in Rajasthan. Now the tourism department is supporting, because right now Rajasthan, it's the destination in India. But everyone goes and sees the forts and listens to the music and comes back, but there's little opportunity of interaction, of knowing the life of the people in Rajasthan. So the target we have been given is to extend the duration of stay. Say you are going to the desert fort of Jaisalmer. Instead of a 1.5 day tour, you will stay for 3 days there, interacting with the people. So that is kind of mandate we are getting, and that is where we are getting some funds. Of course, flows and mobility, I think this is where forums like IFAC need to act, because we need more of South-South, North-South collaboration. Until today, getting visa is a challenge, and participation of tradition bearers is a challenge. So this is where forums like IFAC, I think we all need to get together and do advocacy. Next, please. So these are some of the suggestions I would like to leave for further discussion today. One is, should we have more regional festivals and networks? Sur Jahan, that has traveled to Dhaka, that has traveled to Goa. This year it is going to be held at Jaipur, at Delhi. So it has traveled, Patna. It has traveled to 6 places in India and Bangladesh. But should we have a Sur Jahan for Asia Pacific? Should we have World Peace Music Festivals traveling across our countries? And of course, these are also the themes in other discussions. But I think inclusion of tradition bearers, because those who are not advantaged by what we have been benefited, college education, access to networks. I think all festivals should have a dedicated focus on ensuring their participation. And all of us in this room and in this conference, we have our knowledge. And I think it's important to build these knowledge partnerships so that we don't go on reinventing the wheel, but learn from each other. So again, IFAC, I'd like to request to think of having how to facilitate this institutionalization of knowledge through capacity building programs. So with that, I'll end today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ananya. Thank you very much. You've been my teacher, actually, throughout my stay in India. I've learned, because when you say you start a village festivals, initially I was very dubious. I said, oh, again, other festivals. Everybody's doing festivals, There's too superficial an idea. But I understood what are all the strategies thinking that went behind to create actually a link between festival organizations and the rural empowerment. And what I also learned from your project, was that in addition to creating business, creating a sense of ownership or a kind of social pride was actually so important in the development process. Because perhaps you don't know what are the villages they were organizing village festival. They were really considered to be very poor villages, called like a problematic, economic, depressed areas. Like you got all the negative statistics in the government paper, and now it's gone totally transformed into a cultural destinations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ananya. Okay, without further delay, I would like to invite a friend from Germany, Sabine. She's the Director General of Documenta, who's been organizing this massive art exhibitions, am I correct? Yeah, in the city of Kassel, Germany. And so she's going to share her story on how this art exhibition actually could transform a place. Sabine, you have, yes, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation and for Ananya for this very impressive talk you just did with your string of festivals and how they empowered the region. So it was a major impact, and I'm quite impressed, and I'm really looking forward to hear more examples of brilliant festivals, and I think it's a very good idea to have this conference held here in Jakarta. I'm really, next please, if we can start the presentation. I just wanted to give you a very short introduction to, if you go just next and next. Next, please. Where the city of Kassel is, because we are talking about Germany. If you just could go on quickly. So it's in the middle of Europe, and if you go on further, in the middle of Germany, exactly. So the next, please. And but in the north, if you go further, the north of Hessen. And so if you go on, and the north of Hessen is a part of Germany that is supposed to be Hessen, Siberia, because it's very cold compared to, especially to Jakarta. For the moment it's 11 degrees, I think, while you have here 33, so you have to imagine to wear big coats. But only in winter, in summertime when Documenta is held, it's also very pleasant, and you can have and achieve the same temperatures you have here. Kassel is a very old city, as you see here. It's located on the river Fulda. It's first mentioned in 913, but as a town only from the 13th century. It was a residence of the Landgraves of Hessen, and it had a very sad history in Second World War, which is very important later on for the Documenta, because most of the city has been destroyed, more than 80%. It is very, very tiny compared to Jakarta and to Calcutta also, because it has only 200,000 inhabitants. It is quite multicultural. It has a huge university, and it has some key industries. So just to get you acquainted a bit with Kassel in Hessen. So while we are together here, if you go next, please, is because we are all convinced. So we are all convinced that, can you go on? Because we have to move quickly. So just to give you a short impression, we are also a non-profit organization. We are supported by the government, by the city of Kassel and the Land Hessen, and also by federal funds. And we have 4 divisions. We have the Documenta itself, the Fridericianum, which is a space for exhibitions of contemporary art. We have an archive. I'll talk about that later on. And the Documenta Hall is a space for cultural events, which is used in Kassel. So if you go on next, please. We are all together here because we are convinced of the transformative power of art and culture. And if you go on, just, and we are thinking that these sort of festivals really hold a transformative power. And we think that festivals, like we heard just now from you, but also Documenta, are outstanding examples of power, of this power. And I think it's quite interesting that this role of culture is being recognized now worldwide, not only by UNESCO, although that started there, but interestingly also by the OECD, which is of course working in for money, exactly. But this means also that people recognize, meanwhile, that it has a huge and major impact also on the development of cities, also in financial reasons. Well, if you go on, it's we think the most important thing about cultural is that it has these intrinsic values on one hand, that it enhances the potential for creativity and reflexivity, and develops really, as we saw in your example just now, all our different individual and social capacities. So this is what the Honorable Minister was talking about this morning also. It's a way of making people more happy and more secure, but at the same time it has also instrumental values, culture. It really helps to enhance this reflexibility. It promotes participation. We were talking about that just in your presentation. And it widens, of course, all our thinking perspective and our general knowledge. And then it affects the well-being and also all the economic sectors. And especially if it works together with other sectors like public health, for example, and other sectors of society, because then it has really a major impact on our culture. So we think, if you go on, that especially art and culture festival can influence this local development through all these encounters with art and all these shared experiences people have together, enforcing and sharpening their reflexivity and participation. So, and as a result, it creates jobs and economic value. It improves the quality of life and well-being. It encourages an international exchange, which is also extremely important. We saw that with your festivals too, how they all moved around the world. It contributes to a better living environment. It communicates also a positive image of a place, which is also very important. And it helps also reenact decayed zones of cities. So the city, it really helps to shape and transform the city itself. And of course, and this is maybe the most important point, people start to identify more with their city, with their region. And this is very important to get some sense of who you are and who you want to be, and to have these roots which the Honorable Minister was talking about this morning. So to go on, we think Documenta, if you go on further, this is a picture of the Fridericianum, the museum I was talking about, and of the first Documenta in 1955. If you go on, Documenta was also a private initiative, an initiative by one guy. This was a painter, designer, and teacher, Arnold Bode. And he was convinced that after the horror of the Second World War, it was extremely necessary for Germany, especially, to connect again with the civilized world. And so he thought, with this festival, with the Documenta, to bring back the avant-garde to Germany, to bring back art to Germany, to bring back civilization to Germany. And thus he created Documenta as an art festival. And this has since been continued every 5 years, because it already was a huge success in the first year and has developed further like this. And the most important thing is that there is always an artistic director or direction chosen, and they have 5 years time to develop a new Documenta, which means they can also always take into account a lot of developments in art. This is extremely important. So this is the major difference to other big art exhibitions, like, for example, the Biennale in Venice or others, which take place only all 2 years, so they don't have this time to develop major structures. So this is something very important, and that means that the Documenta really reinvents itself every time, so there is no edition that is comparable with another one, which is extremely important. So if you go on, it has developed meanwhile, and although it is in this very small city of Kassel to be one of the most important and influential exhibitions of contemporary art in the world, it is of course a successful brand for the city. No one knows about Kassel they know about Kassel because of the documenta. I think this is extremely important. And which is what is very important, it encourages really a reflection about what art is about, and people really start thinking about the role of art and the function of contemporary art in the world. And of course, it communicates again this positive image and helps the city to develop, and it had a major impact on Kassel. I'll show that a bit later on. So we are now preparing our next edition, which for Indonesia, we will see that later on, has a major, how shall I say, impact maybe also. We hope at least that there will be a lot of exchange between this part of the world and Germany at that part. So here you have some more impressions from the last editions of Documenta. And if you go on with the presentation, just it's small figures. You see that there's always a lot of international artists involved. These are the names of the artistic directions meanwhile, and you also see how the whole thing has developed also financial wise. So meanwhile we have a budget of about 42 million euro that can be spent, and part of that is 1/3 about is our own income through entrance fees and the other things, and part of it is the funding by the government, and the third part is by supporters, sponsors, donations, foundations who help us out. And I'm very happy that Stefan Dreyer from the Goethe Institute is here today, because Goethe Institutes are very stout supporters of Documenta since ages, I think several centuries meanwhile. No, that's not true, but at least a lot of years. So if we go on, the impact itself is, of course, we have a lot of visitors. We were talking about 200,000 visitors, inhabitants in Kassel, 1 million visitors coming in these 100 days of Documenta. That's a lot for a small city. All these visitors, if we can go on, come from all over the world meanwhile. And as you see already, China and Hong Kong are number 2, but also Japan number 10 from foreign visitors. And you see that is also a major influence to visit Germany. If you want to come to Germany, you come because of Documenta and the Documenta year. If we go on, this means, of course, also that there is a lot of money which comes from the visitors, the direct income which Documenta raises, but also, of course, a lot for local businesses. So something like that is, of course, also a major impact. If we go on, we have all the hotels benefit a lot. You see how the numbers have gone up. We have masses of journalists. If you go to the next thing, coming to Documenta, so there's about 15,000 journalists who normally come from all over the world, and of course this is something which spreads out not only the image of Kassel and Germany, but also, of course, the discussion about art. So that's a major factor for the impact Documenta has on in the world. So if we go on further, what is more important though is that it has also a long-term influence. So it's also a sustainable development, the Documenta. And maybe what is the most important is that the city of Kassel itself identifies itself with the Documenta, and that means it identifies itself also as being open-minded, reaching out to the world. And after the experiences of the Second World War, this is something very, very important for Germany, and helps also to include diversity more, include all parts of the society. So this is an important impact. What is also very interesting is that a lot of people living in Kassel support the Documenta either because they have organized themselves in non-profit organizations like the Foundation of the 7,000 Oaks, who promote the artworks of Joseph Beuys, but also they really participate in Documenta. They work as guides, for example. They plan the film program. They participate in being host families. So this is really an identification with this festival, which is very, very important in Kassel. And everyone who lives in Kassel knows what Documenta should be, because everyone had his or her very interesting memory of Documenta. So this is really fascinating. Everyone can tell you when he or she has been there the first time and was really influenced very strongly by this art. So if we go on, there's also a visible impact on Kassel. You have a lot of artworks which have stayed. They are very important in public spaces. You have the Documenta Halle as this space for cultural events. And as I said before, there's a lot of places and locations in Kassel that have been developed due to Documenta, because artists have found out about maybe a decayed building like the Hugenottenhaus here. This was Theaster Gates in the Documenta 13. He found out about that. He had a very lively presentation in there with a lot of artists from all over the world, 100 days, a mini festival in the festival. And now this house has been transformed and shall stay on as a center for exhibitions. So if we go on further, also what is very important is that Documenta is a source for scientific research also. The Documenta archive is one of the oldest in Germany. And it is now developed into a Documenta Institute, working together with a lot of universities all over the world, and especially the University of Kassel. And if we go to the next, we can jump across that. If you go one further, please. And just one, and the next. So to finish, what is really the most important thing, I guess, about Documenta, that it has always focused on these political developments and has really always tackled topics like globalization, migration, inequality, because artists always have a very clear view on these topics and are often much further advanced than it is with the politicians. So this is, I think, one major thing, and Documenta itself is a discourse for a lot of things, and we hope to go on like this, especially as we now have, if you just go to the next and the next slide, just once further, because the next artistic direction is from Indonesia. It's Ruang Rupa, and we are very proud to have you, and we are looking forward for a new, completely different Documenta. Reza will talk about their concept and plans later on, but I'm sure it will be absolutely fascinating, and I hope you all will visit Germany, will visit Kassel, and make your own view of everything I talked about. And look what Juan Grupa has done. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sabine, for showing us this multiple effect of organizing art exhibitions. It's not only money, the visitors and money, but you also point about urban regeneration, new scientific research. But what I like the most is how you describe the impact on civic education, because I suspect through this you mobilize a lot of volunteers, local volunteers, right? And I think it's like a great opportunity for learning new skills, new perspectives, and it's I think a soft power festival that I think we should no more. So thank you very much for underlining this. Yes. And everybody, we encourage you to visit a castle. I haven't been. I actually discovered that place from your presentation. Sorry about my ignorance. Yes, because I didn't see the name Indonesia on the list of visitors. That's not good, yeah. The next curator is Ruan Rupa, so you have to go and cheer your team. Okay, our third speaker is Mr. Max Binur from Papua. Very excited to have you. He's the organizer of Papua Film Festival. It's very interesting because when you talk about film industry in Indonesia or in the world, we don't talk usually about Papuan films. Recently, UNESCO had organized a workshop on media diversity, and it showed how the content, audiovisual content in this country is so imbalanced towards the Javanese one, which occupies 90%. So I suspect your work is a way to throw a stone and change that water. So we're excited to hear your story, Mr. Max Binur. Silakan.
Ya, terima kasih. Minta maaf, saya presentasi pakai bahasa Indonesia. Saya sebenarnya juga kaget dapat undangan resmi dari Pak Dirjen untuk ikut acara ini. Karena memang kami tidak pernah menyangka untuk bisa hadir. Tema yang diberikan festival, dan saya salah satu dari teman-teman kami yang organisir festival di Papua, Festival Film Papua, dan ini adalah festival film pertama di tanah Papua yang kami gagas untuk memberikan ruang kepada anak-anak muda di tanah Papua untuk bisa berkreasi sehingga mengurangi kegiatan-kegiatan yang tidak produktif. Itu kenapa kami memilih Festival Film Papua ini sebagai ajang untuk anak-anak muda ini, sekaligus kami organisir mereka. Festival pertama kami lakukan di Merauke pada tahun 2017 dengan kerja-kerja yang teman-teman kerjakan. Berikut. Nah, kenapa kita gagas film festival ini? Belajar dari teman-teman di Jogja, festival film dokumenter di Jogja yang diprakarsai oleh teman-teman di Jogja. Tapi kemudian kami coba kita buat model kita sendiri seperti apa. Model yang berkarakter budaya Papua, dan itu yang kita munculkan di situ. Jadi tidak fokus ke yang lebih besar, tapi nuansa kebudayaan itu yang kita padukan dengan dokumenter itu untuk kita publikasikan ke masyarakat, untuk pertama mendidik masyarakat Papua sendiri dulu. Kita juga didik mereka untuk mereka juga tahu bahwa video atau film dokumenter itu penting juga bagi mereka untuk menunjukkan identitas mereka, sehingga mereka juga tahu. Nah, kembali yang tadi. Jadi ajang kompetisi ini lebih ke dokumenter, terus kita lakukan itu setiap tahun. Kami baru selesai festival ketiga di Sorong tanggal 5 sampai 6 Agustus tahun ini. Terus festival ini diikuti oleh anak-anak muda semua. Anak muda dari SMP kelas 3 sampai SMA siswa di bawah rata-rata semua 40 tahun, di bawah 40 tahun. Dan berasal dari berbagai daerah, dari Merauke, dari Asmat, dari Puncak Jaya, dari Wamena, dari Kerom, dari Jayapura Kota dan Kabupaten, terus dari Wasior, Wondama, Manokwari, Sorong, Raja Ampat, Tambrau, Maibrat, Sorong Selatan, dan Bintuni, Fakfak, Kaimana. Kita coba merangkul kawan-kawan muda di seluruh tanah Papua untuk terlibat di dalam ini kegiatan. Yang berikut itu tujuan kita sebenarnya sederhana saja. Kami ingin menampilkan atau memberikan ruang kepada anak-anak muda di Papua untuk bisa yang senang dengan video dokumenter atau filmmaker bisa dikenal oleh masyarakat yang ada di sekitar mereka. Dan ini juga sebagai salah satu kesempatan untuk membuka ruang bagi mereka untuk mereka juga bisa menjadikan video atau film itu sebagai tempat untuk mereka berusaha untuk kemandirian mereka punya ekonomi. Dan banyak teman-teman yang sudah berhasil, bisa dipakai di mana saja dengan jasa dia, mereka dibayar dan mereka bisa terus berproduksi. Yang berikut film-film yang kita produksi, itu juga kita berharap masyarakat juga secara umum bisa mengenal dan mengikuti itu dengan baik juga. Tapi juga kita ingin menunjukkan kepada pemerintah bahwa ada anak-anak muda yang punya skill seperti ini dan bisa dipakai juga oleh pemerintah untuk melakukan dokumentasi apa yang dibuat oleh pemerintah. Hal lain juga kami ingin menunjukkan bahwa anak-anak Papua itu bisa juga. Bukan kemudian terus harus tunggu atau ada orang dari luar Papua yang datang ke sana baru bikin video di sana dan publikasi. Tapi kami juga mau tunjukkan bahwa kita juga bisa melakukan apa yang seperti saudara-saudara atau teman-teman lain buat di luar Papua. Dan itu yang terus memacu teman-teman untuk terus berusaha untuk di situ. Persoalan lain dari tujuan besar kita adalah kita mau tunjukkan Papua itu dalam versi yang lain. Kalau selama ini kita pusing dengan masalah politik yang memecah belah seluruh rakyat, maka kita mau tunjukkan sisi kemanusiaan lain. Kita mau menunjukkan sisi inspiratif lain dari orang Papua maupun saudara-saudara dari luar Papua yang ada di situ yang bekerja siang malam untuk bagaimana membangun tanah Papua. Ada guru-guru yang begitu inspiratif bekerja dengan susah payah, ada misionaris, ada ustadz dan segala macam yang bekerja, ada budayawan, ada seniman yang bekerja untuk bagaimana menjaga kerukunan umat manusia di tanah Papua. Dan itu yang kita mau tunjukkan juga, bahwa video-video dokumenter ini bisa menjadi inspiratif bersama untuk bagaimana membangun persatuan di antara rakyat semua yang ada di tanah Papua. Nah, dan yang terakhir dari tujuan besar kita adalah ini menjadi tempat belajar bersama. Festival yang kita buat mungkin agak sedikit beda dengan teman-teman di Jogja film dokumenter. Kenapa? Karena festival ini menjadi ajang untuk kami mengorganisir diri. Teman-teman yang datang dari seluruh tanah Papua, disitulah kita mengorganisir diri untuk bicara sama-sama masa depan tanah Papua dalam versi generasi muda itu seperti apa dalam bentuk yang lain. Bagaimana video-video film dokumenter itu bisa berbicara kepada orang lain bahwa yang kami inginkan untuk tanah Papua yang baik itu seperti apa, yang tenang itu seperti apa, dan bagaimana saling menghormati terhadap sesama manusia itu seperti apa. Itu yang bagian terakhir yang bagaimana menjadi pembelajaran bersama bagi kami anak-anak yang terorganisir di dalam grup, tapi juga pesan-pesan yang kita mau sampaikan kepada semua umat yang ada di tanah Papua secara khusus dan seluruh Indonesia secara keseluruhan. Berikut metode kerja sederhana saja. Sebelum festival kami kirim surat resmi ke semua teman-teman di seluruh tanah Papua, masing-masing menyelenggarakan workshop di daerahnya masing-masing. Pertanyaan itu dapat uang dari mana? Biasanya teman-teman selalu tanya begitu. Mandiri untuk mencari uang sendiri. Teman-teman berusaha sendiri maksimal, paling tidak ada workshop itu jalan dan saya minta 10 film satu daerah. Dan itu teman-teman lakukan itu dan mereka produksi film satu daerah bisa dapat 10 setiap tahun. Setelah workshop ini, terus bagian berikut adalah produksi dan terakhir dari semua film itu kita kumpul dan kita putar di festival. Nah, pertanyaan berikut dari teman-teman adalah kita dapat uang dari mana untuk buat festival. Selama perjalanan kami 3 tahun berturut-turut, sebagian besar festival ini kami danai secara swadaya. Dari teman-teman dari seluruh tanah Papua. Masing-masing datang dengan bayar diri sendiri. Kita panitia lokal hanya menyediakan penginapan atau akomodasi dengan konsumsi bagi mereka. Mereka bayar, mereka punya tiket sendiri datang ke lokasi kegiatan. Nah, contoh macam kemarin festival ketiga, untuk datangkan orang dari Merauke sampai di Sorong, Wamena sampai di Sorong, kita harus mengeluarkan cash untuk bayar tiket pesawat itu bisa 6 juta pulang pergi. Sama dengan dari sini ke Jepang. Atau dari sini ke Australia. Hanya untuk pulang pergi Wamena Jayapura, Wamena ke Sorong, terus Merauke ke Sorong. Tapi itu tidak memutus atau mematahkan semangat teman-teman, dan teman-teman bisa mandiri cari dana sendiri, datang sendiri, dan kita selenggarakan festivalnya sendiri. Nah, di festival ini juga ada workshop besar tentang temanya. Contoh macam tahun ini kita ambil tema tentang perempuan penjaga tanah Papua. Kenapa kita pilih perempuan penjaga tanah Papua? Karena filosofi orang Papua menganggap tanah adalah seorang perempuan atau mama. Sehingga kita mau ambil perspektif lain, perempuan-perempuan yang ada di seluruh tanah Papua, bagaimana caranya dia bisa menjaga tanah Papua itu. Dia bisa menjaga keluarganya seperti apa, menjaga komunitasnya seperti apa, menjaga sukunya seperti apa, dan menjaga masyarakat secara keseluruhan seperti apa, dengan kisah-kisah inspiratif dari dia. Setelah kompetisinya, evaluasi, dan kita kembali ke kampung masing-masing atau ke daerah masing-masing dengan catatan bahwa setiap kabupaten, kota, teman-teman yang ada di masing-masing daerah itu melakukan pemutaran film keliling ke kampung-kampung. Saya sebelum datang kemarin tanggal 10 di sini, selama 4 hari saya jalan keliling Raja Ampat, beberapa kampung, dampingan untuk jalan memutar film-film yang kita sudah putar di Festival Film Papua. Teman-teman di daerah-daerah lain juga begitu. Jadi tugas kita mandiri untuk menyampaikan pesan film itu kepada masyarakat di daerah-daerah atau kampung-kampung yang tidak sempat datang ikut nonton. Jadi kami mandiri untuk jalan ke kampung-kampung untuk putar film, berbekal laptop dengan infokus saja. Kalau infokus rusak, kita angkat laptop ke atas begini baru semua nonton. Jadi dalam kesederhanaan kita mencoba memunculkan yang lain. Dan sekaligus pada saat kita pemutaran di kampung itu, kita mulai identifikasi anak-anak siapa yang tertarik untuk mau dilatih menjadi filmmaker. Atau siapa yang mau terlibat dalam komunitas kita untuk mulai belajar yang lain. Kita mulai identifikasi, dan kalau mereka mau, saat itu juga kita bikin pelatihan di situ, tapi juga kita bisa minta mereka hadir ke kota di mana komunitas kita itu ada di situ untuk belajar lebih lanjut di situ. Berikut, ini hasil yang kita coba capai dari 3 festival ini. Festival pertama di Merauke itu tentang manusia, tanah, dan manusia. Ini protes kita terhadap MIFE di Merauke. Film ini dengan tema ini sebenarnya kita mau protes pemerintah tentang investasi MIFE yang di Merauke yang merampas hak-hak masyarakat adat di Merauke. Tapi kita buat dalam bentuk yang lebih humanis, pesan-pesan kemanusiaan untuk bagaimana semua melihat persoalan yang ada di sana, hak-hak masyarakat. Itu di tahun 2017, tanggal kegiatannya juga kita patenkan tanggal 7 sampai 9. 9 itu puncak Festival Film Papua berkaitan dengan Hari Masyarakat Adat Internasional. Sehingga kami ambil tanggal 9 Agustus itu sebagai puncak dari kegiatan festival. Jumlah film yang diproduksi ada sekitar 25, terus daerah produksinya itu ada 7. Ada Kerom, Kabupaten Jayapura, Timika, Merauke, Wamena, Sorong, Raja Ampat. Terus pembuatan filmnya ada 20 orang, ada teman-teman yang laki-laki 17 orang, perempuan 5 orang. Terus dari total 3 hari berturut-turut pemutaran film, dari data yang kita absensinya ada 700 orang yang hadir pada festival pertama. Festival kedua juga demikian, temanya adalah masyarakat adat Papua di tengah arus modernisasi. Ini kritik atau juga kita melihat persoalan-persoalan di Papua yang berkaitan dengan masalah ekonomi, masalah sosial budaya dan sebagainya, atau masyarakat yang sudah, kalau saya biasa bilang teman-teman tuh, ada lompatan budaya dan ada tali ikatan budaya yang putus di orang Papua yang tadi yang tradisional, tiba-tiba diperhadapkan dengan teknologi yang modern, dia lompat langsung memilih teknologi modern, dan dia tanpa memakai nilai-nilai budaya dia untuk menyaring mana yang baik dan mana yang tidak baik. Nah, ini yang kemudian membuat konflik gap di antara masyarakat adat Papua sendiri dan saudara-saudara yang lain. Di tahun 2018 ada 8 daerah yang sumbang film, itu Kota Jayapura, Kerom, Biak, Supiori, Wamena, Timika, Yaukimo, dan Jakarta. Jakarta ini teman-teman, di festival ini kita juga minta mereka hadir menyumbang film-film mereka. Terus di festival ketiga sama, dan tahun depan 2020 kita rencana membuat itu di Wamena. Cuma kalau Wamena sudah kondusif dengan situasi yang sekarang. Jangan sampai kita hadir bikin festival terus muncul kasus lain lagi. Itu kalau tidak di Wamena kita akan alihkan ke Biak untuk festival film Papua tahun depan. Berikut. Kendala yang kita alami cuma sepanjang ini, pertama adalah fasilitas pendukung yang terbatas. Jadi kalau saya tidak punya kamera untuk membuat film seperti begini, saya pinjam siapa yang punya. Barter dengan rokok saja kah, atau kopi, pertemanan sudah saya pinjam 2 hari, saya pakai, selesai, sudah saya kembalikan. Itu model kita begitu, terus terang. Kalau yang punya silakan, tapi kalau yang tidak punya kita main barter saja. Saya kasih, bisa bawa pisang 1 tandang atau apa. Jadi mulai membangun kesadaran bersama untuk bagaimana berusaha. Pendanaan memang itu, jadi untuk menyelenggarakan festival kita butuh dana, tapi juga workshop-workshop lain dan sebagainya, tapi juga yang lain. Tapi biasanya kita swadaya sendiri, teman-teman mandiri untuk melakukan itu di masing-masing wilayah, tapi juga kita minta sponsor dari pihak-pihak yang senang atau terlibat. Terus wilayah Papua yang sangat luas, jadi jangan bermimpi tentang Papua kalau bilang jalan tembus dari Wamena sampai Jayapura. Harus naik pesawat. Itu kendala-kendala yang kita alami selama ini, dan berikut masa depan yang kita harapkan teman-teman bisa mandiri untuk bekerja secara swadaya, menunjukkan bahwa kita juga bisa, kita juga siap bersaing dengan teman-teman di luar tanah Papua. Dan kita juga bisa punya skill untuk menguasai teknologi di bagian perfilman, dan paling mimpinya adalah suatu saat harus ada anak Papua jadi sutradara juga seperti saudara-saudara yang lain. Terima kasih.
Sorry, I'm so touched by your presentation. That really makes me wanting to go and see the movie. Where can we see that movie? Di mana bisa lihat filmingnya? Ya.
Ada, saya ada bawa dokumenternya. Tapi kalau ada waktu untuk memutar, saya bisa serahkan.
Okay, we would like to do that, but what I suggest that you grab him during the coffee break, and please invite him to your place. Thank you so much. I know it's not easy to organize film festivals in a remote place, but you're connecting villagers. And what touched me a lot is that this is a festival by people for people. And the fact that you managed to organize it for 3 consecutive years only with the funding from people is like amazing. Because we often say, oh, we need a big sponsor and we're going to make big money. And that is the concept of the festivals for many people, but it's totally different. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to hear your stories. And I hope we can all support the effort in Papua. Okay, before we go to the next 3 speakers, little explanations about Slido finally. So you have to log into a website called www.slido. And then when you go there, there's a little screen showing, please put the code. And the code for this event in this room is J716. J716. That will lead to the dialogue pages where you can start putting your comments, your questions. And that will show in a sequence as you put it. So if you are very digital and advanced, please submit your questions through Slido. Otherwise, if you're analog, you have a little sheet of paper below your butt on the chair. Yes. And yeah, so that's it. And okay, there's Wi-Fi, which doesn't seem to work well. I was told it's called, we have to go for a Fairmount meeting. And the password was IFAC, IFAC, the name of this event. This is what I was told, but when I tried, it didn't work because somehow the network doesn't get inside this room. So otherwise, Ananya, you put your questions on the paper. And for information, this Slido had a word limit, about 160 characters, not words, 160 characters. So be very concise and specific in your question. That prevents you from making a long speech while asking questions. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to call upon Reza Afisna from Ruang Rupa, who was actually introduced in Sabine's presentation as the next curator of Documentas. What an honor what an honor to be invited in the major
yes,
festival from Indonesia. You were the first, right?
Pleasure.
Yeah. So we are very happy to hear your story. Go ahead.
Okay. Selamat pagi. Good morning. As behalf of Ruang Rupa, I came here together with my colleagues in Drameng. My name is Reza. So we will do introductions at glance regarding Ruang Rupa. But first of all, I would like to excuse myself that I will talk mostly in Indonesia, just to make sure that our friends, the interpreter, will help us toward the presentations. We had lots. We divided into 4 files, including films and slides of pictures, and also partly at the first, I would like to appreciate for the all presenter that been for today's presentations onwards and up until we finish, and as well at the first. Ruang Rupa is an artist collective. We based in Jakarta, and it was since 2000s. But beforehand, before we initiate ourselves as a part of an artist collective, actually we've been known together in each of every activations when we were still in college back in the 90s. So it's kind of like a long way of intimacy process of friendships up until we initiate ourselves and creating a space for ourselves and name it as Ruang Rupa. So at the first glance, we would like to have short of videos, or 10 minutes videos upon our activities from 2000s up until 2014. So it's like the first 15 years of Ruang Rupa, which kind of like give some notions regarding our practices, especially the ones that connected to the festival as the method. So I would like to please the operator to put our short of our documentations as a for the part of the first introductions. Thank you very much. Hopefully it will work well. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just to slide upon this video documentation that we had for the first early 15 years. Actually, it's partly like how we, during that time, it's kind of like a transitions. Also in the way on how we are do differently on creative artistic process in our daily activities. Because Ruang Rupa is mainly not an organizations or the one who create a festival as a part of its working methods. Ever since that we are an artist, so an artist needs a space itself to presenting different way on the how it's narrate to these artistic processes. So when we start as a group, when we start as a collective or working collectively, it's because that's the notions on how we could power ourselves to create different way on how we could react in our collective thinking as a method on how we address ourselves, to identify for sure, and also to position ourselves in the societies. Because most of the time, during the time when we starting to initiate Ruang Rupa, there's always a question: did you working as a community base, or are you working as collective? Because the sort of issues during the time is not really been lots of discussed or a part of the discourse. So sometimes it's also quite difficult even for us, because most of our members, or not a member, but most of ourselves is a trained individual artist, back since in the art college or art institutions, and then suddenly we need to find ourselves or to strategize ourselves to becoming an artist. But in the same time, it's also always difficult to find ourselves or position ourselves as an artist in Jakarta. So the collective is a method on how we also survive artistically, and also it's also how we're going to give also statement regarding our artistic practices so far. So this is like the whole compilation of the 15 years with different kind of approach regarding to distribute the knowledge. That's the first important thing that we have to mostly think, to distribute the knowledge, and then since that we're going to find out how these notions of knowledge on collective, it's also part, we could as well not only being together, but also how we're going to enhance the notions of education in the throughout different kind of level, not only through the formal educations, but also through this experience base of sharing. So we still wait for the next for the videos actually.
So just to reassure Mr. Max Binur, technical problem is not just a problem in Papua. It happens in Jakarta, Fairmount.
It's always happened in the big cities.
Okay, are you still struggling for the videos? In fact, since they're still struggling for the videos, I just want to throw a question to some of you who already spoke. What is the success, the factors for a successful festival? Because we know that it's not by organizing events that success comes automatically, right? Whether it's financial or social. What are those things you actually plan? What are those thinking processes you put yourself before organizing? Maybe Ananya or Sabina, do you have some of your experience, because you've been doing that for more than a decade now?
One thing which we focus on is finding the leaders in the place, because for us festival is about branding a place or branding an art form or creating a market for art forms. So we try to identify from the community the right persons who will be there. I think that's very important. And the other part is the theme, which I think in the previous presentations, in all the presentations it came out that festival cannot be only for the sake of festival, but it has to focus on a theme, and that also helps in continuity. I think those are the two things: the local participation, the community representatives who are giving leadership, building their capacity, and the theme. I think these are the three critical things.
And maybe also important to have a really a distinctive idea of what you showed, so that it has really some impact on your special region, or is something special. It's so I think it's not does not work to just import a festival from one place to the other, because then it does not deal with the direct identity of the new place. So it has to be at least to be adapted to a given place, and then to take in all the, as you said, the leaders and everyone else, so that they can also participate in the whole thing.
Time to nurture this, right?
Yes.
The first year was not immediate success. After how many years you start seeing the changes? Some positive indicators?
Well, I think you get a positive indicator normally directly in the beginning of if there is some sense of pride, something happens between the people that do participate. This is also a lot of mouth-to-mouth people. Someone has visited, says this is interesting, you should go there, and then there's something distributing some spirit, some common spirit. And I think this is the first indicator that the whole thing works.
Right.
And then to grow upon this sort of earth and go further.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for the patience. Now the video is ready. I think somebody paid bananas and pineapples to the to the technician. Okay, let's go.
Aja mau malam ini. Ya.
Just curious, amongst the participants, are there any other festival organizers other than our speakers? Yes, Pa, I know you are organizing ASEAN Textile Festival. Yes. Anybody else? No, okay. Okay. Video starts.
Aja mau malam ini. Ya.
Mimpi indah tadiku semalam kakek nenek rumah biru nan bergadang. Piring-piring terbanglah piring lewat rumahku terbang menyala nanti ku tembak nanti ya yau.
Ini juga t-shirt kelas tahun yang serius. Buatan masih ada baunya, masih ada bau, masih ada. Hah? Koleksi Diamond, oh bukan? Ini koleksi siapa? Koleksi Pel.
Ketimbang dalam militer misalnya. Dalam militer itu saya kira belakangan. Tapi seniman itu lebih dahulu lebih memahami konteks nasionalisme. Saya tinggalkan aja ke Sabi untuk kita bahas.
Bergentayangan sejak dini hari dari semua sudut kota ini, menghindari panas matahari dalam lomba berburu rejeki. Tak ada lagi yang berjalan kaki, naik bajai atau metro mini. Semua orang punya motor satu, dari majikan sampai pembantu. Oi, Jakarta Motor City, semua ngebut tak terkendali. Spion mobil disikat, trotoar diganggangin. Tak takut mati, apalagi takut polisi.
Maaf dek, Anda tidak takut saya? Coba sekarang keluarkan surat-surat. Surat-surat, ini juga ada di surat nikah. Ini juga nikahnya nikah siri, gak apa-apa kan?
Tak diperlukan gelar sarjana, apalagi ijazah SMA. Asalkan kau bisa naik sepeda, bayar DP murah, motor bawa ke rumah. Sudah banyak yang menjadi.
Goedenavond, dames en heren. Selamat malam, tuan-tuan dan nyonya-nyonya. Ik ran ke alam, dir ke Mesir. Met dua, overal Batavia. Ik ran ke alam, dir ke Mesir. Met dua, overal Batavia. Ik terug aan de nooide tijden. Apalagi malam pasar gambir, terang bulan met nona manis, oh sorean, pergi ke stan kursi nevreyen aan de bir. Terang bulan met nona manis, oh sorean, pergi ke stan kursi nevreyen aan de bir.
communities who held Gerobak Bioskop program could as well maintain such of the programs that suits to them as a part of the local issues and local context that being put that also have put in a strategic meaning in the socials and its gathering in the public space, but not only concerning about the public space and also the screening, but Gerobak Bioskop have another content which held the most importance is about the education through literacy of visual culture and the development of the visual in their own local context and based on the local necessities. Gerobak Bioskop has put lots of exchange through knowledge not only into visual cultures and also the development of the visual itself, but also in the sort of context in the local area. They really could contribute and also cross exchange idea not only through the Gerobak Bioskop program, but through this program in the communities itself. So the sustainabilities within the Gerobak Bioskop not only about the screening, about the media literacies, about the spreading of the information and also development of the visual, but also this Gerobak Bioskop has been a simple component for locals or within range of the neighborhood and several in the remote place that near to the community who held this Gerobak Bioskop program. It's a part of the way of getting alternative or short of alternative chain of cinema.
Okay, terima kasih. So in this part, I would like to address in Indonesian. So I would need help from interpreter to work very fast because time-wise, because we move very slow and late. But in the sense on how Ruang Rupa as an artist collective introduce themselves as a part of the collectivities is because we always questioning regarding a space. That's the things that we always consider. Kami selalu memikirkan atau bermula dari sebuah visi dari sebuah ruang itu sendiri, karena kami berpikir kalau ruang itu adalah juga sebagai tempat atau sebagai wadah di mana semua bentuk kontribusi dan juga semua bentuk distribusi akan pengetahuan, baik itu yang berbentuk formal dan pengalaman itu akan selalu berbagi. Jadi hal yang selalu kami pertahankan dan kami perkenalkan adalah bagaimana sebetulnya ruang itu bisa menjadi tempat untuk bertemu dan sebagai ruang tamu. Karena secara tradisi kami selalu memulai dari rumah. Kami selalu berpindah kontrakan selama setiap 2 tahun sekali dari semenjak tahun 2000 sampai akhirnya kami memiliki tempat sendiri sejauh ini di wilayah Jagakarsa yang kemudian kami kelola bersama selaku kolektif bersama. Jadi we always call ourselves nowadays as a collective of collectives and it's create like a different ecosystem. Jadi kami menamakannya juga itu adalah sebuah ekosistem dan bagaimana itu bisa sustain, bagaimana itu kemudian tidak terlibat atau ada pertanyaan misalkan sejauh mana kok pemerintah tidak terlibat atau seperti apa. Sebetulnya yang kami lakukan sendiri adalah sebuah bentuk inisiatif karena kami adalah seniman, sekelompok seniman yang selalu melakukan latihan-latihan. We always do like different kind of exercises throughout different kind of module of approach regarding program and its activities through festivals, exhibition of presentations, workshops, as well art projects, also inviting artists through art and residencies and things like that. We always try different modules in of each part of the necessities based on the possibilities. Terkadang kami juga memiliki bantuan dari pihak-pihak atau funding tertentu untuk melakukan beberapa proyek dan juga program. Akan tapi hal yang tetap tidak berubah itu adalah sebetulnya visinya tidak berubah. Visi kami tetap bekerja bagaimana bekerja selaku kolektif itu juga akhirnya membentuk sistem ketahanan sendiri gitu. Dan kolektif itu sendiri juga terbentuk tidak melulu hanya dari kami yang selaku seniman, tapi di mana kami tinggal. Tidak perlu juga kami harus bersusah payah atau istilahnya untuk konteks kami di Jakarta atau konteks kami tinggal saat ini adalah kami juga tidak ngoyo gitu atau bersusah payah untuk membentuk satu kerja komunitas. Karena kalau bagi kami itu tidak mungkin, bagi kami itu tidak penting atau bagi kami itu tidak mampu banyak berkontribusi atau bertukar secara distribusi pengetahuannya tidak perlu dikerjakan gitu. Karena kami juga memikirkan satu hal adalah bagaimana bentuk kerja yang mungkin terbentuk dari sistem yang kami namakan saat ini adalah sistem lumbung. Jadi sebetulnya secara tradisi sistem lumbung or we call it a rice barn or even collective pot is actually generate a different idea for us to sustain as well how to give notions on way dalam tanda petik survival methodnya gitu. Dari semua pengetahuan, dari semua resource yang ada, dan itu yang kami perkenalkan, dan juga itu yang kami distribusikan kemudian, dan itu yang kami proposkan kepada Dokumenta. And thank you for Sabin to introduce us. And for the last slide, actually this is the things that we try to introduce and we try to acknowledge in the way on how we approach to the next Dokumenta 15 as an artistic direction. Thank you very much. Semoga berkenan dan semoga menginspirasi.
Thank you so much. It was interesting to see how you consciously use all the unusual public space to organize art festivals, because I think in many countries in Asia, art is still very elitistic things. Often you have to go to a fancy opera house or a cultural center, but not always in the hands of ordinary people. So it's very interesting how you're bringing the arts to the people. Okay, without further delay, I'd like to call upon Pak Arif Yudi. You're ready? Yeah? Pak Arif is from Jatiwangi Art Factory, yes, JAF. It's an organization that meant to encourage the citizens' participation in art practice, but as a way to reduce conflict. So we'd like to, thank you very much for coming and sharing your experience. The mic is yours. Okay.
Halo. Cir goreng banget uang. Oke, terima kasih. Selamat siang teman-teman. Saya Arif Yudi dari Jatiwangi Art Factory. Nama kelompoknya namanya berbahasa Inggris, tapi sebenarnya saya sendiri paling gagap berbahasa Inggris. Jadi kalau berbahasa Inggris itu sama dengan Inggris sebelum punya bahasa. Oke, maaf. Teman-teman, Jatiwangi berada di Jawa Barat. Dia posisinya 3 jam dari Bandung, 4 jam dari Jakarta. Sekarang agak lebih mudah karena ada jalan tol. Jalan tol buat kami perubahan yang cepat. Sekarang harga tanahnya di dalam desa itu 1 juta semeter. Sebelumnya mungkin 100 sampai 150 ribu semeter, sekarang cepat sekali. Jadi ternyata yang merubah itu adalah infrastruktur. Ini merepotkan kami belakangan karena infrastruktur tidak hanya berdiri sebagai bangunan, tetapi berdiri kemudian berdampak pada cara berkomunikasi baru dari warga, cara melihat perspektif dunia juga berbeda, kemudian semakin agak susah berkomunikasi karena melihat jalan tol lebih asik ketimbang ketemu tetangga sekarang. Jadi kalau sore hari di atas jembatan banyak sekali orang dari desa dari kami ketemu di sana dan melihat lalu lalang jalan mobil, dan ini saya kira pelan-pelan membangun mental, bahwa mental menonton itu memang jauh lebih asik daripada mental bermain. Ini yang akan saya bicarakan. Baik, boleh kita mulai. Tunggu, baik. Lihat muka sendiri, nggak enak ternyata. Oke, telat ketawanya, terlambat ketawanya. Oke, 2015 kita memulai ini. Belum juga ya, oke, tapi tidak apa-apa. Kami itu sekelompok orang yang tinggal di sana berinisiatif untuk berkumpul karena kalau di teman-teman lain itu biasanya berkumpul para seniman atau bisa juga otodidak. berkumpul untuk membangun komunitas seni. Tetapi di kami itu ternyata bukan otodidak lagi, tetapi bahwa kalau kami berkumpul di Jatiwangi Art Factory itu otomatis seniman jadinya. Jadi lebih advance daripada otodidak gitu. Jadi langsung jadi seniman di situ. Hah? Auto seniman karena tiba-tiba kita berpikir soal itu semua gitu. Kami melakukan pendekatan seni karena memakai metode seni itu lebih mudah. Bukan lebih mudah, lebih gampang masuk karena bagaimanapun warga menganggap seni itu sebagai hiburan. Jadi itu kuncian pertama yang membuat kami agak leluasa berkomunikasi. Karena kalau pendekatan keilmuan atau yang lain itu ketegangannya lebih gampang, lebih langsung keterima gitu. Tapi kalau seni ada hiburan jadi menyusupnya lebih mudah untuk melihat yang lain. 2005 kita mulai dan kami memulainya langsung di 2006 itu ada festival, performance festival. Ini ada 12 negara kalau nggak salah di bawah Heru. Oke, kita mulai. Ini lihat namanya sangat berbahasa Inggris. Tetapi kemudian ternyata dari nama ini kemudian menjadi banyak orang dari seniman, terutama seniman dari luar datang ke Jatiwangi Art Factory, ketemu warga Jatiwangi. Dan boleh berikutnya? Ya, jadi 1 tahun kita berdiri, kita menghadapi otonomi daerah. Otonomi daerah baru terlaksana di 2016 dan kami dari awal ingin sekali terlibat sebagai komunitas yang mengarahkan bagaimana otonomi daerah itu terjadi. Jadi ingin sekali, impian kami adalah ketika ada otonomi daerah, daerah itu punya karakter, punya identitas dan punya mau kemana arahnya yang dibangun. Jadi dari awal bagaimana kami membangun komunitas ini agar bisa terlibat untuk mengarahkan wilayah kami yang kami tinggal. Karena ingin banget kami berandai-andai bahwa satu saat ada sebuah wilayah di mana kami tinggal, di mana kami bisa hidup nyaman, bisa bisa berkomunikasi lancar, bisa mendapatkan informasi secara terbuka, dan sharing pengalaman dan pengetahuan mudah gitu. Jadi kami menyiapkan diri kami untuk otonomi daerah sebenarnya. Sebelumnya kita sudah berkumpul, tapi baru menyatakan ketika kita tahu bahwa tahun depan akan ditetapkannya otonomi daerah. Dan sayangnya sekali lagi bahwa otonomi daerah belum bisa membangun identitas dari sebuah wilayah, tapi tidak apa-apa, nanti kita bicarakan. Baik, ini kebayang ketemu orang hampir tiap bulan, tiap hari saya ketemu orang berbahasa Inggris dan tiap hari juga saya tambah tidak bisa berbahasa Inggris. Ngawur banget. Ini kayak lompatan besar dari Jatiwangi karena ketemu orang sangat terbuka sebelum ada jalan tol gitu. Dan pelan-pelan warga Jatiwangi mulai mengenal bagaimana kode-kode berbahasa tanpa mengerti bahasa yang dari Inggris. Tapi kode itu setiap orang sebenarnya punya cara untuk melatih kode agar masuk akal dalam kepalanya. Baik, berikutnya. Ya, kami mulai dari 40 rumah, kami mulai dengan tetangga terdekat dari Jatiwangi, mulai ngobrol soal apa hidup nyaman, apa itu impian, apa kuasa menentukan arah masa depan gitu lewat seni, terutama lewat festival gitu. Dari 40 rumah kemudian jadi 3 desa, kemudian kita memasang banyak. Oh gini, oh yang mana yang di ini? Yang ini, oke, ya. Jadi dari 40 rumah itu kemudian kita mengerti bagaimana kita punya 16 desa dan kemudian kami membangun media center. Jadi kami bilang waktu itu kita mencari bintang. Jadi desa-desa itu kita mencari bintang, bagaimana bintang itu menggerakkan desa. Biasanya ada bintang-bintang yang kemudian selalu merasa terlibat di desa itu dan menjadi aktif di desa itu, aktivis desa. Kemudian kita buat namanya media center untuk pertama mempublikasikan desanya, baik secara video kemudian atau secara tulisan. Jadi media center kita bangun di 16 desa. Berikutnya tapi mulainya dari 40 rumah ini. Setelah itu kami kecanduan festival, benar-benar kecanduan. Jadi setiap desa membuat festival, ada festival 1 hari boleh tidur. Itu inisiatif warga desa Loji, jadi satu jalan ditutup untuk tidur. Jadi orang boleh tidur di situ. Impiannya adalah bagaimana seperti orang Bali 1 hari nyepi, tapi nggak berhasil karena agama nggak mendukung itu. Nggak ada agama meminta tidur sebenarnya. Jadi ada kesalahan dari festival ini. Oke. Dan kita punya festival tahunan, ada Village Festival. Semula adalah seperti yang dari Papua. Bagaimana alih teknologi, bagaimana melihat masalah lewat video, bagaimana gitu. Tetapi lama-lama kami mulai melihat festival sebagai cara bekerja sama. Di festival kami mulai menjebak kepolisian, kecamatan untuk masuk dalam arena apa yang disebut kami waktu itu festival video dengan tema Ipolesos Budkam. Saya lupa itunya istilah apa pempanjangannya, ideologi politik sosial, gitu. Iya itu masa suka pinter sejarahnya, sosialnya bagus. Kami mulai pelan-pelan memasuki itu pada arena yang sama lewat video. Jadi ngomongin politik, ngomongin sosial, ngomongin kebudayaan di dalam satu frame Ipolesos Budkam, karena memang itu program pemerintah. Dan pelan-pelan kami mulai berkomunikasi dengan camat dan ramil dan seterusnya dengan mudah, karena sama-sama ngomongin seni, padahal sedang saling mempengaruhi. Jadi pelan-pelan kami mengajak saudara-saudara kami yang di wilayah Jatiwangi untuk terlibat dalam kerangka seni. Tapi kemudian yang salahnya adalah ternyata camat yang diundang ke Fukuoka dalam kerangka new media. Ini keliru jadi seniman camatnya ini. Jadi Pak Camat yang jadi seniman, bukan saya yang diundang. Aduh, kekeliruan. Jadi itu yang keuntungannya. Jadi keuntungan pertama diundang ke Fukuoka Contemporary Art Museum untuk sebagai seniman video. Tetapi itu menjadi studi banding bagaimana Pak Camat melihat orang Fukuoka kalau mengurus sesuatu cepat sekali. Dan itu jadi belajar, camat kami belajar mempercepat sistem kerja di kecamatan, terus lihat juga damkarnya bagaimana, tempat sampah bagaimana dan seterusnya. Dan kembali kemudian bikin program sendiri dan mereka bikin festivalnya sendiri. Banyak banget, ada 1 tahunan, ada 2 tahunan itu waktu itu sama Heru, itu awalnya adalah performance 2006. Kita mengundang banyak seniman performance ke sana, tapi sekarang 2 tahunan ini menjadi festival yang kita sebut panen energi. Tahun depan di bulan Juli Agustus itu ngomong soal panen energi, soal biar mataharinya enggak berguna di sana selain panas, karena Jatiwangi itu 4 besar. Saya enggak suka Jatiwangi 4 besar ngomongin panas. Harusnya nomor 1 yang paling panas di Indonesia gitu. Kalau 4 kagok mendingan nggak usah gitu. Mataharinya cukup banyak, ada 5 di sana. Jadi kalau kemudian nanti ada panen energi, kita ngomongin soal energi dari panas matahari. Kita punya 3 tahunan itu festival musik keramik. Jadi karena kita adalah pembuat genteng dari tanah liat, kemudian itu menjadi festival 3 tahunan kami di sana. Ada Festival musik keramik kita mengundang banyak orang, ada 1.000, kemarin terakhir 11.000 orang main musik dari genteng gitu. Jadi rampak genteng itu besar sekali dan itu seperti masnya memang dibiayai sendiri karena memang nggak logis membiayai rampak genteng itu secara foundation. Oh ya, oke, ini dia festivalnya. Jadi festival yang kemudian orang menyepakati bahwa ini main musik, padahal nabuh genteng. Tapi nggak apa-apa kan? Ingin banget sebenarnya kita ngomongin bahwa festival itu bukan soal seni-seni gitu, tapi mungkin ada festival yang memang bekerja untuk melihat atau mengintai atau menangkap dari persoalan-persoalan keseharian dan itu difestivalkan. Jadi mungkin kita akan mendapatkan festival-festival yang tidak masuk akal secara pendanaan tetapi punya identitas yang lebih jelas gitu. Karena jebakan kita festivalnya karena kalau sudah jadi institusional atau terstrukturkan menjadi kumpulan rundown para pengisi acara. Jadi sampai tingkat itu. Itu agak jebakan kita, kami selalu ingin bocor dari situ agar kami tidak hanya membuat festival seni gitu. Ini yang dilakukan oleh kami. Nah ini panen, nah ini Ipolexos Budham Kamnas, gila. Ini udah ada videonya, yang sebelahnya VNN ini 2 tahunan. Untuk yang video festival kita sedang menantang video festival ditantang oleh kita untuk sebagai kerjasama. Jadi sister city belakangan targetnya lewat video. Baik. Nah, ini bahasa Inggris anjir Sar. Oke. Ini festival kita yang awal. Festival kita untuk ngomongin masa depan. Jadi berapa? Oke, 3 menit lagi. Ini kita mengumpulkan warga untuk melihat masa depan. Ada di situ sampai ada pengen punya apartemen, desanya punya universitas gitu. Terus kamu seleksi lagi mana yang paling mungkin dari itu. Mana mall paling banyak, mall itu paling banyak itu. Kalau mall paling banyak. Terus kita seleksi lagi sampai kemudian mana yang paling mungkin dikerjakan sampai 2023. Nah yang paling susah ini sebenarnya. Dari kerjaan kami itu menjaga rindu, itu paling susah sekali. Karena sekarang rindunya sudah diwakili oleh WhatsApp, oleh apa-apa. Tapi rindu ketemu, panas, ketemu orang, ini yang paling susah. Dan kalau kemudian rindu warga Jatiwangi pada dirinya susah juga, ya kami akan membuat kota terakota gitu. Biar semua rindu pada persoalan kita punya masalah tanah, kita punya juga mengelola tanah dengan tiap hari, tetapi kami ingin membuat kota kami menjadi kota terakota. Jadi teman-teman silahkan berinvestasi ke kami, apakah pengetahuannya, apakah pengalamannya untuk kota terakota, karena satu catatan kami waktu itu, bagaimana kota itu harus baik, ada yang nulis, kota yang baik itu kalau istri saya tinggal di sana, saya jatuh cinta terus. Anjing, sadis. Terima kasih, selamat berfestival, mari bergerak dan bersama. Gitu aja udah 3 menit.
Thank you so much. You are wonderful coordinator. I'm sure your festival is also very much on time. Okay, the festivals continue in Indonesia and everywhere in the world. And the question is, how can we uplift all of them? Because some are big, some are small, some have more visibility, some have less visibility, some are more successful, less successful. So sometimes there's a challenge. Festivals is good, but when there are too many? How do you cope with that situation? To address that question, we have the last speaker, Pa Heru, who is the coordinator of Indonesiana, which is an interesting initiative of government of Indonesia, Ministry of Culture, to find a way of coordinating these massive areas of festivals that are taking place sometimes somewhere in the little corner of Indonesia that perhaps we have never heard of. Now, please share your thoughts, because it's a wonderful idea and very challenging at the same time. We're eager to hear you.
Thank you. Greetings, everyone. Assalamualaikum. Sampurasun. I have given a link to Google Drive. It contains the images from the festivals. I don't know if it works or not, but that's okay, because the images are a slideshow of festivals, while the program that I'm working called Indonesiana is not about the festivals themselves, but behind the scenes. And as we have discussions yesterday, Indonesia is a huge country, 17,000 islands and so on and so forth. And to give you a glimpse of the scale, from Papua in the east to Aceh in the west is about 4,800 kilometers, about 2,000 miles. So in terms of, like Max Binur just mentioned, even in the island of Papua, the price of traveling can be, you know, as expensive as from Jakarta to Australia. So it's huge. So in terms of traveling inside Indonesia itself, it can be very expensive and time consuming. So anyway, if I'm to talk about Indonesiana program that I'm working on, it's a lot of things to say and sometimes make me confused how to start. So for this moment, I've decided to start with a personal point of view. About 4 years ago, I met an official staff from the art section of the Department of Culture and Tourism in the city of Bandung, where I live. So that meeting was very impressive for me in an odd way, actually. It was a focus group discussion where the independent workers, such as myself, can have discussion with some representative from the government institution on the so-called creative economy. The place was called Kinoruku, the place where we met. It's a library slash bookstore slash film club. It's a very interesting place, especially for artsy people. So surprisingly, the staff, the art section from the Culture and Tourism Department, not only that was his first time came to Kinaruku, but he never heard of it before. So the city of Bandung is one of the trendsetters in Indonesia in terms of art and fashion. And in my point of view, the government official who conducted arts and culture program should be proud of it, should be excited that there are many spaces initiated, a lot of art and culture programs. But no, I mentioned to him, I mean, I've drawn to talk more with him. I mentioned several spaces that very productive in terms of organizing programs in arts and culture. Selasar Sunario, no art sculpture space, and so on and so forth. Nothing. He never heard one of it. And not only that, for those places that I mentioned to him, for me is like melting pot, but for him it's like insignificant. So it struck in my mind, like, what happened? Why didn't we connect it? So last year I decided to move to Jakarta, which is 150 kilometers from Bandung, because of that Indonesian program. Indonesiana is initiated by the Directorate General of Culture from the Ministry of Education and Culture as a platform to link the cultural festivals. So this is the basic premises. Again, I will tell you a story to describe the basic premises of Indonesiana. My second name Hikayat means story, so I love stories. Last August, I moderated the Directorate General of Culture to speak in an informal forum at the Orbital Dago, Bandung. I mentioned names of places in Bandung. Anytime you come to Bandung, address me, so I will show you, walk through the scale. The forum objectively conducted to discuss the Directorate General of Culture programs and policy in casual ambience. Mainly our new law, the Act number 5/2017 on advancement of culture. So this one dialogue, very interesting. There was Father Fabianus. He's a professor at the philosophy faculty of the Parahyangan Catholic University. He was questioning the Act number 5/2017. He started with a statement, "I admit that I am not read the law yet, but honestly, I am suspicious." He continued, "I am suspicious. What is it going to be if the state can't control the culture?" So that is actually the problem. The draft for the law has been discussed at the House of Representatives for more than 3 decades. It was a long debate, always controversial. The problem is because in the previous draft, the state indeed trying to control the culture. Of course, it will be controversial. And then, but it became the formal law at 2017 because the paradigm, the way of thinking is changed dramatically. The Act of number 5 of 2000, the Act number 5/2017 is not controlling the culture, but the law given task to the government in the process of advancing the culture. So the object of the law is not the culture, but the government. So based on that new paradigm, the Indonesiana platform was developed. Well, you all know the wealth of culture in this archipelago, some 1,700 languages and so on and so forth. Even myself, if I'm traveling inside this country, I'm always amazed to see different kind of culture. Some like I just met and very new. All those cultural wealth is like raw input, many things to become content of the festival. But the thing is the knowledge of the cultural entities often unclear and uncharted yet. So that's how we first work in every area we came. So the first local government should submit proposal to us that I initiated some festival, and then we came some assessment program, some survey about that knowledge base. That's the first step, and then the other is about the cooperation or partnership between the citizen and the local government. That's why I tell you the story about my meeting with the official staff in Bandung. Because in many areas, the cultural workers, such as myself and the local government, not really connected. In that kind of area, it doesn't mean that the government doesn't have any program. There are a lot of routine programs, a lot of festivals, but most of them is like have no clear impact or not sustained and so on. That kind of basic problem. Some of the festivals are good in quality, sustain, has clear impact, like my fellow Indonesian in this panel, Arif, Asung, Max Biner, of course. They are the example of the festival initiators from the citizen, and in their incredible career, actually the government role is like minimum. I believe they can agree with me. That is the not so connected problem that I'm talking, I'm discussing about. So, as an expert team in Indonesian program, that is my main task in every area. not looking for the content of the festival or the cultural entities in that area themselves, like there are many rituals, folklore, and so on. It's not about that. It's about, can the government and the citizen be partnered, you know? Can the government, as the stage manager, so to say, give access to the people in terms of policy making, or even in terms of managing the public fund? That is the new paradigm I'm talking about. So on paper, it's just, you know, like shifting like that, but in practice, it's like huge project. It's not easy to talk about that with the bupati, the local government, the head of the district, or the head of the cultural department. It's not easy to convince them that you have to make, my original profession is a curator, so that's in Indonesia, and I always traveling over here and there and talk about curatorship. It's not easy to convince the head of culture and tourism department to form a curatorial team from the citizen to make the curatorial team. It means that he or she or the department gives access to the people on the decision making, including the managing the money, the public fund. And it's not so easy, not every time easy. So I think that is the key in this country, in this very culturally wealth country. If we want to have like prestigious events such as Documenta, I think citizen, if it can be a fruitful partnership, then we can have a lot of festival, many kind of festival, and I think as the previous speaker says, it can give more impacts to people and also the government and the cities and the district itself. So that's for me for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's interesting to hear how the head of the Ministry of Culture himself says that it's very dangerous when the government starts melding with culture. It's very interesting that you have that position. And I really wish every success in this new initiative, Indonesiana, that's quite innovative in trying to create that partnership between the government and the civil society in curating the exhibitions. Okay, we come to the end of 6 presentations, and we have about 30 minutes, a little less than 30 minutes for interactions, because I'm sure you are eager to ask questions to our panelists. So I would like to request all the panelists to come on the stage. There's only 4 seats, so you have to rush, and those who are faster will get the 4 seats. Others have to stand. No, well, no, this is not our intention. Risky has kindly offered to put additional chairs. Please come on the dais. I know Sabine has disappeared. I think okay, please don't be shy. We have a friend from Ruang Rupa. Silakan. Yes, your work hasn't finished, please. Yes, Sabine is back. So we got a couple of questions also through Slido, and now, and then I kind of took my prerogative to summarize the questions that the participants are asking. I think the first questions is related to what you actually mentioned, is how dangerous ultimately when the government start mingling with local festivals. It was also your point, actually, Pak Arif. And so one question is, how did you face any politicizations with the festivals, like a situation where the local politician come and try to grab and use it for his personal agenda or his or her personal agenda. That politicians are not necessarily men, but can be women. So that's first questions. Second question is, what is your strategy to make your festivals more inclusive? Because I know in the case of Ananya, you already targeted those very marginalized villages from the beginning. But I think within that village also, there are even more marginalized people, right? So, so I was thinking if there has been any strategy in your respective work to make your festival inclusive, to try to include consciously those who you think have been kind of marginalized in the group. The third question is sustainability. I think everybody is very curious, how do you make festivals sustainable? Some festivals are lucky, got government subsidies. Some others are organized by NGOs or funded by the local communities. How can we make it sustainable? What is the missing link? And the last question is not asked by the audience, but from me. What can we do to network all these existing festivals? You are doing wonderful jobs in your respective corners. Can we make it even more greater by linking one festival to others? What would be your suggestions? So 4 questions, and I would like to request the participants to pick up any question you want to answer out of 4 where you feel comfortable, or where you have your case studies to share. One is politicization. 2, how to make it more inclusive. 3rd, sustainability. And the 4th, networking. Okay. Yes, please raise fund. Whoever wants to make speak. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you. Politicization. In terms of one way, curatorship is about power. So that's actually the daily problem that I'm dealing with as long as I'm working for the Indonesian program. Every time I come to a district, an area, and trying to establish a curatorial team is about shifting the power or even negotiating or even contestation. Which one amongst the parties involved get the power? And of course, there are some cases where the local politicians trying to, with their own agenda infuse. And I think the key is the negotiation themselves, and can the parties that involve see themselves as equal parties, Before Arif stated about the otonomi daerah itu tadi terjemahannya? Regional autonomy law. It's a major change for us. During Suharto, it was very centralized, everything top down, including culture. We have this called puncak-puncak kebudayaan daerah. Gimana itu nerjemahinnya? Puncak-puncak kebudayaan daerah. I don't know. I've given the power to the translator to translate that because this phrase puncak-puncak kebudayaan daerah is very politics, very politics. How can you choose among these thousands of islands, these hundreds of language, which one is the peak of the culture? You cannot. You simply cannot. So actually the government cannot control the culture because it's just to abandon, and not about abundancy actually. Culture is organic, isn't it? While the governmentship should be strict, firm, and formal. So these two entities always collide. So the key is how we negotiate. All the parties has to be equal to negotiate which way is the better. So we, the expert team in Indonesia, are always trying to set up, always trying to facilitate meetings, forums, in which the parties can discuss equally. to discuss even about the theme of the festival is also about power. Which peak of the culture should be shown in the festival? This is also power. So the key, I think, is that equal forum, equal dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you. Who wants to say yes? Please grab the mic. There's no particular order. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd want to talk about inclusion because this is always a very important part of Documenta. In one way, it's really making all things, all locations accessible for people, handicapped people, but at the same time also make the content more accessible to everyone, also in terms of having signature, you know, where you go to, there's some explanations about works of art, you have guides, and all the guides have a very good education behind so that they know what they are talking about. So this is a huge project. We have about 10,000 guided tours normally, which means you need a lot of guides, and of course all these guides have to learn something about that. But at the same time, the education program of Documenta is also an art form itself. So education on art exhibitions has developed a lot through Documenta and has reached a very high also intellectual level. Maybe we have to switch that down a bit again, because now at the last Documenta it was about unlearning, meaning open up art for everyone and include their own experience into art. But that went at a given point where people felt a bit lost because they didn't learn, well, they didn't get a clue what it was about. So sometimes it was a bit too difficult to access afterwards. So what I wanted to say is that inclusion is a major and an important part of Documenta. It has these two major things, education and making accessible, but also to approach groups of people that don't come normally to an art exhibition, because often people think art is something, you said it before, very intellectual, very high level, so nothing for them. So it also tries to include public programs that are, for example, very accessible, film screenings or concerts, performances, whatever, so that also other groups of people who normally don't go to an art exhibition will come. And this works fairly well, and we expect a lot also by this way of approaching people who are in Grupa has, that they tackle even other public groups that might come, also younger audiences maybe. So I think this is also always a developing part that is really important for an art exhibition, and I think for every festival in the world.
Thank you for the questions. They're quite probing. Now, the way we address this, I mean, this is also a learning, because, you know, when we started, we did not know what will happen. So it has been a learning process for us, and just like Sabrina said right now, we are also now focusing a lot on developing this educational system. So we now have 2 campuses in rural areas. One is in a state called Jharkhand, and another is in West Bengal, where we have regular workshops with these community members. I touched upon this briefly in my presentation, that we try to identify the leaders from the community, and we do workshops with them to develop their skills on a wide range of aspects, not only the art form, but as on art management, on various aspects of using digital communication. We are focusing more and more on digital storytelling so that they can make short videos on themselves and share via social media. And now at least 50 of the artists have their own social media pages, and 10 of the hubs have their social media pages. So these are the capacity building which we are doing to develop leadership, which in our vision will lead to the sustenance. And regarding addressing the political problem, it is there, so we have to handle, usually we invite them. We invite all the elected representatives, the local governance, to our inauguration, to our program, so that, you know, we give them the mic so that they tell a few words, and this results in, you know, their ownership So all these villages, as Moy had shared, were really underprivileged villages, and they invested in the roads, in the lights and all that. So it's a partnership building effort. And that's how so far we have managed the politics at the local level. Another way we try to include, because of the time, I could not show the video. If there's time left, I request Moy to show the video. Then you can all have a journey to our village festivals, and I invite you all to come because they are between November to March. Now, in these in the village festivals, each of the houses becomes like an art gallery. So it's very inclusive. The entire village is the venue, is a space. And that way everyone in the village is included, and those who are not artists, they're involved in the management. So that way we try to make it inclusive, and when we're doing it in the city, we address it through the themes, through the festival ideas. We curate the ideas, so that I was mentioning in my presentation how we invite the smaller islands, how we invite women's groups who in their own country perhaps cannot perform publicly even. So that way we try to build in the inclusion part of it. Networking is a conscious strategy in our case. I shared examples of how we invite teams. So even in these festivals, we hope we'll connect more and more, and we'll have each of us sharing others and our communities visiting each other. And that way we can build the network, and I think IFAC has a big role to play in this, and all the cultural institutions who are present here from different countries, they also have a big role. Thank you.
Jadi kalau saya ngelihat, saya mau ngomong soal bagaimana pemanfaatan atau memanfaatkan para politisi pada itu. Sebenarnya bagi kami nggak merasa kayak gini. Ketika kemudian kita harus terbuka untuk sebuah wilayah, maka yang datang apakah dari politisi, apakah dari komunitas, apakah dari bisnismen atau apapun, memang punya hak yang serupa untuk membangun. Cuma masalahnya seringkali komunikasi nggak jalan gitu. Komunikasi itu nggak jalan, dan terasa banget bahwa yang punya inisiatif itu lebih banyak politisi. Nah, belakangan kami mulai membalikkan itu, bahwa sebenarnya inisiatif itu bisa juga dari komunitas, dan kami menyatakan bahwa kami ingin kota kami itu sebagai kota terakota, dan politisi, bisnismen atau apapun kita ngomong soal ini gitu. Jadi semakin terbuka kami untuk dikudeta katakanlah, tetapi bahwa rambunya kita harus punya rambu bersama, bahwa misalnya kota kami harus baik secara apa gitu, itu harus sama-sama dibagikan, karena biasanya kota yang paling gampang dilihat adalah ketika bisnisnya masuk gitu, ketika infrastruktur masuk, tetapi rambu dari kaminya juga harus dibagikan dari awal gitu. Jadi saya kira semakin terbuka pada tawaran impian bersama tentang hidup lebih baik, mungkin itu festival, itu gunanya festival. Jadi membuka pertemuan-pertemuan hingga semua kepentingan boleh masuk, tetapi dalam kerangka kesepakatan bersama. Misalnya bahwa kota terakota ini sudah masuk pada rancangan til tata ruang di Majalengka, dan itu kami mulai dengan main-main di Bapeda, bikin peta dari tanah, seolah-olah impian kami ditaruh di situ, bahwa tempat ini untuk sawah, tempat ini nggak boleh itu. Tapi kayak seperti seni, dan orang tidak terasa sebagai membuat rancangan bersama gitu. Dan kemudian terakhir itu akan diketok palu sebagai rancangan bersama di Majalengka, bahwa Majalengka menjadi kota terakota. Tetapi bahwa politisi, saya kasih tawaran bahwa ini mungkin kalau Anda, ini pertama kali loh ada warga yang mengusulkan kotanya, dan Anda mengatakan sepakat, Anda sebagai politisi yang hebat. Jadi panggungnya kemudian dikasihkan bersama gitu. Saya nggak tahu, karena seringkali ada misalnya 4 komponen bisnis, akademisi, government gitu, Tapi komunitas hanya sebagai tanggapan aja, kalau di panggung suruh ayo main musik, ayo main pameran. Kenapa enggak kemudian komunitas memang juga punya daya politik, daya bisnis katakan, karena punya modal sosial yang besar dan seterusnya dan permainan itu saya kira bisa dijadikan satu rasa bangga gitu loh. Aduh, bahwa saya juga hidup di wilayah yang sama. Terima kasih.
Ya, sederhananya kita itu begini sih. Pertama, kita juga mau tunjukkan Papua untuk orang kenal Papua dari sisi yang lain. Kalau selama ini otak manusia di Indonesia ini dipenuhi dengan politik, kami ingin menunjukkan bahwa ada sisi humanis dari orang Papua dengan kerja-kerja kemanusiaan dia untuk tanah Papua secara khusus. Sehingga bagaimana kita melihat Papua, membangun Papua itu bukan dari sisi infrastruktur saja, dari politik saja, tapi kebudayaan ini penting untuk harus diangkat dan itu menjadi dasar untuk pembangunan di Papua. Kenapa? Karena ada 300-an lebih suku bangsa di Papua dan masing-masing suku ini punya karakter kebudayaannya beda-beda. Sehingga untuk membangun Papua harus membangun dengan memakai pendekatan budaya. Ini yang ingin kami tunjukkan bahwa bagian ini selama ini tidak dan jarang digunakan oleh pemerintah lokal di Papua sendiri maupun di nasional dalam melihat pendekatan pembangunan secara budaya. Itu kenapa film-film dokumenter kita ingin tunjukkan bahwa ini sisi lain yang bisa dibangun dari sisi ini. Yang kedua adalah bagaimana mengorganisir pemuda di kampung-kampung. Kami tidak prioritas yang mahasiswa tinggal di kota, tapi bagaimana pemuda di kampung ini diberikan ruang juga untuk belajar, mendapat kesempatan yang sama seperti lain. Dari pengalaman 3 kali berfestival, respon dari masyarakat sangat bagus. Terus kerjasama kita dengan pemerintah juga, memang ini masih belum maksimal kita bangun kerjasama dengan pemerintah. Karena masih ada gap antara pemerintah daerah juga dengan komunitas-komunitas juga di daerah-daerah. Selama ini komunitas-komunitas masih dilihat dalam tanda petik sebelah mata saja, bukan kelompok yang ikut serta dalam membangun di daerahnya. Sehingga kesempatan festival ini bagian juga untuk menunjukkan bahwa komunitas-komunitas ini juga bisa juga untuk membangun di dalam generasi dia sendiri, generasi mudanya, mendidik dia punya teman-temannya untuk mendukung pemerintah dalam pembangunan. Jadi gerakan Festival Film Papua kita fokusnya ke situ, kebudayaan, bagaimana angkat budaya itu menjadi suatu bagian juga dalam mendorong pemerintah untuk merancang pembangunan berkarakter budaya, membangun kemanusiaannya, dan ketiga adalah pendidikan untuk generasi mudanya. Nah, network yang selama ini kita bangun selain dengan pemerintah, fokusnya adalah pemerintah kampung, karena kita memulai dari kampung atau desa. Selama ini perjalanan kita mulai dari kampung atau desa ke kota. Kenapa? Karena kita memilih kampung, karena banyak kampung-kampung atau desa yang belum dapat akses informasi yang bagus. Nah, kedua adalah kampung atau desa adalah sebenarnya dasar dari pendidikan kebudayaan itu. Itu kenapa organisirnya kita mengorganisir dari kampung baru ke kota. Karena bagi kita itu penting, membangun karakter anak-anak itu atau generasi muda harus membangunnya dari kampung, bukan dari kota. Karena kalau di kota sudah teknologinya sudah maju dan orang lebih senang HP, main WhatsApp dan sebagainya, pesan di situ, akhirnya lupa untuk belajar tentang kebudayaan dia. Nah, network yang selama ini cukup bagus kami bangun juga dengan teman-teman di Jogja, ada Kine Forum DKJ di Jakarta untuk mendukung kita juga, di mana kita saling berbagi film juga, ada sebagian film kita kirim ke teman-teman di Kine DKJ di Jakarta untuk mereka putar juga di Jogja. Dan juga ada beberapa film kita yang kita ikut sertakan di Malaysia, Freedom Expression juga. Terus teman-teman di Malaysia ada terlibat juga sama-sama untuk mempromosikan film-film yang teman-teman produksi. Harapan sederhana dari kita adalah festival ini dia akan terus berlanjut dengan belajar dan mendesain model-model yang lain. Kalau pertama di Merauke kita hanya fokus dokumenter festival filmnya saja. Terakhir ketiga di Sorong kita padukan itu dengan kebudayaan. Jadi ada presentasi pemutaran filmnya, tapi juga ada gerakan budayanya di luar, di halaman sekitar tempat di mana kita berikan ruang untuk masyarakat untuk promosi hasil-hasil karya seni budaya dia, kuliner dan lain sebagainya. Terus ada diskusi-diskusi kebudayaan juga. Dan yang paling penting dari proses yang kita bangun adalah ada interaksi penonton dengan antar penonton di saat menonton film. Jadi semua penonton yang menonton itu kita minta mereka memberikan respon terhadap film, tapi juga kita sama-sama mendiskusikan satu tema untuk masa depan perfilman secara khusus di Papua seperti apa dan bagaimana memakai kebudayaan sebagai alat mempersatu seluruh suku bangsa yang ada di tanah Papua. Untuk secara kemanusiaan bagaimana saling menerima, saling menghargai dalam membangun Papua secara bersama-sama. Jadi tujuan besar gerakan kita ke depan untuk mengembangkan festival film Papua, kita lagi mendorong ke situ bahwa festival ini menjadi ruang atau tempat untuk membangun kemanusiaan di tanah Papua.
Terima kasih. Saya akan menambahkan sedikit saja dari sudut pandang kami selaku kolektif. Yang menarik, yang pertama adalah tentang bagaimana kalau biasanya kami berhadapan dengan sebuah intervensi gitu dari pemerintah atau badan yang lain, bahkan mungkin dari korporasi gitu kan, karena ini selalu bersinggungan kalau kita berbicara di ranah yang sifatnya festivitas, berbentuk sebuah festival atau peristiwa gitu, yang dimana di situ dibutuhkan segala macam keterlibatan ya, dari mulai tenaga, waktu, sumber daya, bahkan pendanaan itu sendiri. Sebetulnya menarik dari konteks bagaimana kami selama 19 tahun ini membuat pelbagai kegiatan atau aktivasi di mana kami menganggap festival itu adalah salah satu dari sebuah bentuk presentasi kami di hadapan publik sebetulnya. Jadi bukan semata-mata itu menjadi sebuah peristiwa perayaan gitu, akan tetapi itu adalah sebuah bentuk evaluasi di mana kami selaku kolektif atau selaku inisiatif membuat autokritik gitu terhadap apa yang kami kerjakan. Kan seniman itu tidak hanya berkutat di dalam tanda petik studionya saja ya, tapi kami juga harus punya tanggung jawab yang berrelasi dengan keterlibatan, atau kita ngomongin atau tadi kita bicara saat ini tentang inklusivitas dan eksklusivitas. Seniman itu tidak eksklusif sepatutnya, apalagi dalam sebuah konteks seperti Jakarta yang di mana-mana merayakan. Jakarta itu penuh perayaan setiap harinya dan itu sangat menginspirasi. Lalu dalam konteks ini di mana kami bekerja, otomatis kami akan selalu melibatkan dan kami selalu berpikir sebetulnya, kenapa pertanyaannya itu selalu masyarakat yang dilibatkan? Kan kami bagian dari masyarakat itu sendiri, harusnya kami yang terlibat dan melibatkan diri. Jadi itu yang namanya inisiatif gitu. Jadi bagi kami sebuah perayaan ini juga adalah alasan di mana kami melibatkan diri yang berkontribusi terhadap masyarakat atau di mana tempat kami bekerja. Karena itu layaknya, karena kalau misalkan sebuah festival atau peristiwa dilihat hanya sebagai bagian dari, oh mari kita libatkan masyarakat, bagi kami sih itu tidak fair ya. Bagi kami adalah hal yang membuat fair itu adalah sebetulnya kami melibatkan diri di hadapan masyarakat karena itu adalah basic needs or part of the necessities gitu. Ini yang kami butuhkan untuk kami bisa diketahui dan diidentifikasi. Setelah kami bisa mengidentifikasi dan mengetahui bagaimana posisi kami bekerja dalam masyarakat, bagi kami adalah tidak perlu mengkhawatirkan dengan kehadiran intervensi karena sudah jelas kami bisa punya nilai dan negosiasi di situ. Bagaimana kami akan menolaknya, bagaimana kami akan menetapkannya sebagai cara untuk bekerja bersama kemudian, bagaimana kami akan membuat itu sebagai teman misalkan, dan itu akan sesuai dengan porsinya masing-masing gitu. Jadi sebetulnya penting juga untuk kami melihat bagaimana nih caranya yang namanya power structure ini punya kepentingan, dan kami juga melihat power structure ini juga sebagai resource gitu. Resource ini kan tidak cuman berupa sebagai pendanaan atau dukungan terhadap politik, tidak ya. Resource ini juga berhubungan sebagai politik. Sebagai distribusi pengetahuan juga, sebagai cara kami untuk belajar dan mengetahui bagaimana mereka bekerja. Jadi terkadang kami tarik juga kemudian. Kalau kita bicara power structure, when we talking about structures, then berarti kita juga harus punya siasat lain untuk mendistribusikan bagaimana caranya, ayo kita kerja bersama, mari kita bekerja dalam satu level yang sama gitu, yang saling berdampingan dan saling mengisi satu sama lain, jadi fill in the gap. Jadi istilahnya gini, bagi kami adalah kami selalu berpikir selama ini kan kita kadang-kadang selalu we against this kind of power and this kind of relation. It's against, itu kadang-kadang selalu menjadi negatif gitu kadarnya. Dan kami selalu berpikir sebetulnya bukan melawan, akan tetapi bagaimana caranya dalam satu kontribusi pengetahuan ini adalah saling mengisi satu sama lain, saling mengetahui bentuk-bentuk kekurangan, karena di situ juga saatnya kami untuk bisa menilai diri kami untuk mempunyai penilaian dan evaluasi terhadap kritik yang akan kami kerjakan gitu. Jadi keterlibatan itu sendiri sudah otomatis bakal bekerja di situ. Dan bicara tentang sustainability, jelas yang kami pelajari dan kami ketahui, Indonesia mempunyai sejarah panjang gotong royong, sejarah panjang kolektif, melalui sistem yang namanya participatory, istilahnya gitu kalau dalam bahasa campaign-nya gitu ya. Akan tetapi sebetulnya yang kami ketahui kan itu otomatis bekerja ya dalam sebuah lingkup pola hidup berkemasyarakatan ke setiap harinya itu, sistem bekerja kolektif itu sudah ada dan hadir. Cuman bentuk pengkolektivitasan dan pengformulasiannya saja yang berbeda-beda. Jadi sebetulnya kami mengetahui kalau kita bicara tentang bagaimana caranya bertahan hidup dalam tanda petik, itu kami juga berpikir sebetulnya bukan tentang diri kami saja, akan tetapi kami berpikir dengan seluruh ekosistem yang ada. Makanya itu sangat penting bagi kami selaku kolektif untuk bisa bekerja dan hadir secara fisik untuk mengetahui dan juga terlibat bersama gitu. Jadi kami juga tidak pernah mau untuk menjadi kapasitasnya menjadi makhluk asing dengan kekuatan tertentu, lalu hadir di masyarakat, lalu kami bilang, oh ya kami akan memperkenalkan sebuah sistem yang mungkin membuat kalian akan hidup lebih sejahtera, pengetahuan kalian akan lebih, nggak mau, karena menurut kami itu jadi aneh, itu tidak relevan dengan kontribusi kami yang kami namakan itu menjadi collective pot, itu sistemnya itu adalah sebagai lumbung, di mana dalam lumbung itu sendiri kan take and give ya, gitu. Jadi ini juga bagian strategi kami untuk mencoba membuat itu lebih diverse lagi, untuk saling mengenal dan saling menginspirasi. Itu aja sih. Terima kasih.
Thank you very much. I hate to stop the discussion, but for the sake of time, we have to conclude. Thank you very much. Another big round of applause to our 6 speakers. It's been so great to hear the 6 thinkers and leaders in different corners of the world. It's impressive because economy tends to make a big concentration of the centers, but when it comes to cultural centers everywhere. I think there are cultural centers as many as the numbers of the communities, and I think you have proven that. So we hope that at least within 6 persons to begin with, if you can start the network and think about collaborative activities, then I think IFAC will be proven to be a success. Pak Ananto, who is the patriarch of IFAC, is here, and he wishes to present a token of appreciation to our speakers. it looks like the same thing given to the Thai minister, no? So you have the same gift as the gift given to the minister of Thailand. And yes, okay, sure. And as it requires a photo session, yeah. In your official event, without photo session is not possible. Thank you very much for being with us, for your patience, for sitting for 2 hours without coffee break. So we break for lunch, is it? And then the afternoon sessions, the 3 different parallel discussions will start from 1:30. Am I correct? Yeah. So bon appetit, have a nice lunch, and also the Friday prayer for those who are going to pray. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure meeting you. Yeah. Pleasure hearing your stories. Yeah. Anyway, it's easy when the speakers are good, yeah. Thank you very much. Terima kasih, Pak. Yeah, sorry, we didn't have time, but I give my card. Yeah.